All right, players, we are at roundtable number 7. You will have until 9:01 or until you stop talking to figure out what you want to do, and then we will vote. Get to it. Good luck.
Does anyone want to start? Um, so I feel like if I were to sum up the calls that I were on in the past couple of hours and yesterday, maybe just some of the people who I feel like names have been brought up more should speak first, kind of talk their points. I feel like Crispy, your name was definitely talked about a bunch. The stuff with Chanel, and her reaction to your vote, I know was a big thing, as well as the whatchamacallit, the numbers and the poisoning conversation. So I don't know if you wanted to speak on that, but I know that was something I feel like relevant.
Can you give me a summary or whoever on like what you mean by her reaction?
Like I sent that screenshot of like her rolling her eyes when you were like giving your speech of the vote, and then she was shaking her head no while you were saying your vote. I don't know if she could have just been upset with you because you guys were had a good
Oh,
relationship, or who knows, but it was just the traitor was of everyone she reacted to your vote specifically.
okay. Well, my response to that is I think it could be a couple of things. I think it could be like her, maybe I hurt her feelings because we were like developing a good friendship. And when I say we were developing a good friendship, like we had one call one on one where we were talking just like about our lives, like where we're from, like different experiences we've had, not a whole lot of game talk. But my thing is like I just kind of develop an emotional attachment to people. And I started to develop one for Chanel because I felt like we were having similar emotions in the game when it just comes to like feeling a little isolated and feeling a little left out um in terms of like a big group thing. So I kind of felt for her in that regard. So I think maybe, and I told that to her. I was like, I feel for you. Like I don't want you to feel any type of way. Like I play these games to have fun. And I don't want anyone to feel like they've been personally targeted. So like when it starts to feel personal, like my heart kind of goes out to them. And I think like I let my heart get in the way with my conversation with with Chanel. And I told her that I agreed with everything she was saying. So I think maybe she was a little disappointed that I did the exact opposite of what I spoke about and voted with a majority and didn't try to defend her more. Um, just on a personal level, not like traitor, faithful, like whatever you have it. Or she kind of got dogpiled on. Like if someone gets dogpiled on, it gets to an extent like you have to roll your eyes. And I think genuinely she would have rolled her eyes if I was the last vote, if you were the last vote, Brian, if Sarah was the last vote, if Jazzy was the last vote. I think she would have rolled her eyes because it was clear that she was gone and out of the game. I truthfully don't think that it was anything directed to me. And sorry, I'm speaking a little slowly. I'm nervous. Um, in regard to like our conversation about like the poisoning or whatever, I told her my clue because up until that point, I didn't have any suspicion on Chanel. And selfishly, I was looking at it as she's one of the clues that I'm missing, and I don't want to get poisoned. Like, I feel like her clue would help me survive. And I talked to her and she gave me her clue. And I asked her if she had spoken to anybody else. And she said she didn't. And then she told me that based on the information that she knows, that her knowledge pointed to cups 4 and 7. And I just kind of validated it and like was kind of a yes man in that moment where I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me because I think it could be 4 and 7 too, based off of what I know. Um, Later that night, people were talking about like how it went, and I even said that I thought the traders knew about the poisoned cups ahead of time, and people told me that they disagreed. And so I dropped it. Uh, I thought I thought that that was explained earlier based off of the rules that the traders would know. So that's why after the challenge, after I had that conversation with Chanel, after I had a conversation with you, Brian, where you said, like, I hear what you're saying about your personal conversation with her, look at it logically. And I tried to look at it logically. And I did look at it logically. And my gut was pointing to Chanel. I'm not going to apologize for feeling bad about voting for her just because I liked her as a person.
I have a question for Crispy about the challenge that we just did.
Hmm.
So, it seemed as if all of us were kind of collaborating. We did talk about like Jazzy's going to be the one to write everything down before we are all going to like put our thumbs up for everything.
Hmm.
I know that you were in your feelings about that.
Hmm.
Um, what I noticed and what I put in my prod chat during this time is the only thing that kind of felt iffy to me was when we were talking about who's like, I think the question was like, who's the least inactive? And we were between like Jeff, and I think all of us, almost all of us were like, Jeff's never on calls, he's barely here, like blah blah blah. At least Aaliyah shows up to roundtables sometimes, and like,
Right.
and then you kind of spoke up and you're like, I think it's Aaliyah. And then we were like, no, no, it's not Aaliyah. And it ended up being Jeff. You ended up being right. And then from
Yeah.
there, all of your answers were kind of wrong. So that made me think that like you spoke up knowing the answer as a traitor, but then you were like, oh no, I showed my cards too quickly. So let me like back up and like be wrong. So like that's how I interpreted that. Do you want to like provide context of like what your thought process was during that time?
Yeah, of course. I disagree, but thank you for bringing that up. I thought I explained it why I thought it was Aaliyah, and Aaliyah, again, this is no tea, no shade against you at all. I was thinking of it more of like a historical thing, and like I mean, history kind of speaks for itself a little bit, and in the history of the game, who have I seen around more? It was kind of a toss-up, truthfully. My gut was telling me Aaliyah just because like historically she hasn't been around more so than Jeff. Like Jeff at least like types every now and then in the chat, like communicates work schedule, like is like airing suspicions or something. And in the scope of the challenge, I thought that that's what the traders were thinking as well. Um, I even said I was like, I could see it being either of them. I don't feel too strongly of it being Aaliyah. That's just what my gut was telling me, and it was right. And I tried to listen to my gut the entire time during the challenge, and I tried to listen to my gut the entire time during the game too. Um, so that was the one time that I was right. Um, yeah, I feel like that's the shittiest answer in the world, but even when it was confirmed that we lost, that whatever, I took my selfishness away from the game and I tried to have a conversation about what the correct answers could be because I saw that as an opportunity for the faithfuls to get information. If I was a traitor, I would not have done that. I, if I were a traitor, I would have just done what everybody else did and just started typing answers. It was fucking chaos, and I think the traders did a great job in sowing chaos. I'm not a chaotic person by nature. I I was just playing the game that I thought would be best for the faithfuls in that challenge.
Okay, thank you. I just have one more follow-up question. I know that
Yeah,
this is emotional.
go ahead.
Um, like I understand that you were frustrated about not getting a shield, but I didn't see you like actively going for one. I know that you wanted to discuss things, but like where were you like going for a shield? Because I saw like Morgan, Julia, me, Brian, Jazzy already had one. Aaliyah wasn't there. Um,
I didn't know how to get a shield. I
okay.
I didn't know how to get one. It just was like we designated Jazzy as the person. And there was a part of me like was like, oh, I should volunteer myself. Like I view myself as trustworthy. Not to say you're not, Jazzy. That's not what I'm saying. But like I view myself as trustworthy. So I wanted to volunteer myself to be the one to type the answers because I know that I was going to play this for the faithfuls. So I was mad at myself that I didn't push harder because if I were the one to type the answers the way Jazzy did it, I would have a shield. And even after it was announced that Jazzy had a shield, I didn't know if there was going to be another one. So it took me. I'm I'm a slow learner, but I learn. And when I saw what everybody else was doing, I was like, oh, this is how we're playing it. So I was just like, I guess I will try. I can't type very fast. My internet's not the quickest. Like y'all have heard me on calls, I've been like delayed, like my submissions are slower. Technical issues, maybe? That's the best I got.
Okay. Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Do we want to do like everyone say their top two or something? Because I feel like we're a little bit like
Yeah, I was actually
right
about
with
to
this.
say I haven't been able to really share with anybody today, like my thoughts about like how the challenge went, and mostly because I seem to be quite a bit of the answers for them. Which is weird because they were like all the negative answers that the group didn't agree with. And I think like during the challenge, somebody had mentioned that it seems like it was somebody who's like a bit out of the loop that was answering these questions. And that felt like, again, it could have been done super strategically to make it look like me, as well as making me have a bunch of the answers. But I think it was absolutely done strategically to get heat off of other people, and I think that it really is somebody who's a little bit out of the loop being helped by somebody who's very in the loop. And and I actually do agree with Sarah's point because I watched the challenge back twice because of that. Because I just want to see people's reactions when the answers come up and then when we're talking about it and like when right before we submit an answer. Because there was a time when you looked like you were trying to stop yourself from saying my name as the answer. And I think that's the first time that Sarah was talking about that, like, it looks like you were fighting with yourself to like steer us in the right direction. And I just thought that was like kind of odd. I think it was like
No,
the very first, maybe it was the one like who has no idea what's going on in the game. And we answered Jeff, and the answer was me. And right before we like said, Jazzy, like, let's lock in, you like had a moment where you were like battling with yourself whether you should say the right answer.
yeah, can I respond?
Absolutely.
My biggest fear when I play these games is looking stupid. I was worried about looking stupid. That's what it was, but I think it would have been worse, and I think it would have been doing the faithfuls a disservice if I did not speak up. I like this I'm getting the vibe that it's me tonight. I think it seems like everyone has decided. Um, so to your point, Aaliyah, I think that it looked like I was hesitating because I was afraid of being dumb and I was afraid of being wrong. And now in hindsight, I wish that I didn't speak up because I ended up being right. And now I'm getting punished for it. Um, which I don't think is right. I don't think it's fair. I've been playing this game for all of my faithful friends, and I don't know how else to defend myself. What more can I do? What more do you want from me? Because I will give you more. Like, I will give you everything, all of my faithfuls. I will give you everything that I have because I promise it's not me. I'm not conniving enough. I'm not smart enough to be an OG traitor. I would panic at the jump of being recruited. So I'm not a recruit. It's not me. Like, vote however you want to vote. It's not me. I've I voted every single traitor out correctly. I've changed my mind and I have voted out friends that I didn't want to vote for. And I'm a little drunk, I'm sorry. So that's partially why I'm crying. It's not me. I don't know what else I can do and say. I just I feel like this whole game I've been trying to be myself and I've been trying to. That's why I was so happy that I was picked and selected as a faithful because I thought it would give me the chance to just play as myself. And the whole time I thought it just felt like I was just clawing my way in to a bigger group of people that were running the game. And maybe I was looking at it wrong, but I promise you guys, it's not me. I have my suspicions. I've aired out my suspicions, but I just feel like, what's the point? What's the point in
No,
bringing it out
Chris,
right now?
Crispy, I always go to Roundtable, always willing to hear people out. I feel like you've defended yourself very well, and I am willing to hear what your thoughts are. My heart is hurting right now. I hate seeing anyone cry or anyone
No, I'm
sad.
sorry.
No, no,
Usually my
no. It's
Lexapro works.
no, no, no. I know. I've been on Lexapro myself. I know what that's like. But yeah, no, I'm absolutely willing to hear you out. What are your thoughts? Because the way you've defended yourself to me, I feel a lot more secure that you are faithful, to be completely honest with you.
I appreciate that. So I've said it on a couple of calls already, and I wish they were here so I could have said it to them. But I'm looking at Blissey tonight. Um, and for a couple of reasons. I think that how how Blissey had communicated to Chanel at the previous tribal council at the previous round table and two round tables ago when she was like, don't pop off on me, and at the previous round table where she came in saying, Chanel, I'm not voting for you. Chanel, I'm not doing it. I'm not putting my vote on you, Chanel. And then Brian said his thing about Traitors. You should put your vote onto Chanel because if you don't, I'm going to be looking at the people who don't vote for Chanel. And then Blissey, who was the loudest advocate for not voting for Chanel, flipped and voted on Chanel. That is a red flag. That's a
I
red
will
flag to
say,
me.
during the challenge last night, when Blissey came in partway through the challenge, the rules were about to be explained to her, and she immediately knew what they were already. Like, someone, I think it was Jazzy, was starting to explain that we were playing touchy subjects, and she said, "Oh, and the answers are already there for us, or the answers have already been decided."
She did say that. You're right.
That was like the first thing she said when she came on call.
You were right. She did say that when she came on call.
I don't know if that's just an assumption
And
because like that's kind of how I would assume if we were going
yeah,
into
and
a round
Blissey
table too.
is someone I was also was very much considering because her behavior seems to have changed. I've seen a much more aggressive side of Blissey. Like before this, she was kind of more chill and like late as the game's gotten later on, I think she's become a lot more fighting with people and like causing more chaos. So she to me, oh yeah, Sarah, go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt you, Jazzy, if you're done. Okay. Um, these are really good points on Blissey. I think why I have blinders for Blissey a little bit, I kind of went on a side rack thinking that she lied to me about that challenge of the cups. I'm over it now. Um, But Blissey was like one of like I remember Ty, me and Blissey being in like a room together, all three of us kind of discussing it being Jordan. Um, and she was like one of the main ones to like put a chart together and like all of that. So like that has me thinking like if we think that Blissey is a potential recruit, that would make sense. I don't think she's the OG. Also, Blissey just fights with everyone. There's like she won best rivalry in fucking
Oh,
CT14 because she
okay.
fought with someone. So
Gotcha.
Um,
I've been out of the community for a while, so I probably don't know that stuff. I for me with the stuff, it just seemed a little suspect. But like, if you're saying that, I understand completely. Just I think she is a recruit. If she is a traitor, that's the wow I'm feeling is she seems more like a recruit because she had very different behavior the first time I talked to her rather than how I've seen her acting now. So that's my theory. And Crispy, you can go.
so what's the goal here? Like, is the goal to catch an OG or a recruit? Do y'all really think I'm an OG? Like, that's a genuine question. You think I'm an OG trader, Sarah?
I, I
yeah.
I
said
think
that is
Why? Why?
I think we got out the OGs. I think we're looking for a recruit at this point, if you
I
ask
think
me.
that there's, I think that to th like separate OG and recruit would be unnecessary from this point because we know that there has possibly been a recruit last round. So to try to separate those now would just be counterproductive at this point in the game.
I think in the
I,
sense that there's less to go off of the recruit. Like I don't think
Yeah.
if there was something that someone acting really weird compared to how they were just 24 hours ago beforehand, like that to me, if something like that happens, the most obvious thing. I personally think there is more to go off of for the original. And again, when going for the original, you could also get the recruit, so it's not necessarily two separate things like that. But I do think Crispy, that is like, in my opinion, your best defense because for you to be an original trader, you voted Amy round one.
yeah.
That's to me but the thing is that's the same thing for Blissey. Blissey has that exact same argument where she
It was
also
either Amy or Blissey at that point.
that's true. That is true.
I'll also say that we do keep forgetting Jeff is here,
We
like every
do.
time.
Jeff's been very disregarded, and I know I brought it up a while ago that I was kind of suspicious on Jeff, but I still feel somewhat suspicious on Jeff, but not as much as I used to, but he's definitely someone I have in the back of my mind.
I also will say that I know Julia's name got talked about at least a little bit. I personally have some suspicion there just because I think Julia does line up more with and to be the original trader. And I know I said this before, but I just think it is important for every faithful to know this at this point. Like right before Allison got murdered, Julia said on a call with me and Sarah and possibly another person, wouldn't it be crazy if Allison got murdered? I feel like everyone would freak out and use that as her specific example. And then right after that, Allison died.
Julia's not dumb. Like
I
Julia,
also said that about,
sorry.
like I said, I also said that about Mike round one in front of like 8 other people.
Yeah. No, Julia
Means anything.
Julia throws that stuff out there, and I think in my opinion, I think the traders are taking it as bait and are like, oh, we can
I,
frame Julia because
I would like to say something just going
yeah,
back, because I couldn't remember off the top of my head and didn't want to look. I think Sarah, you had just said Blissey was one of the people who was like pushing Jordan that time and like made the chart. Blissey did ultimately vote Aaliyah that round table. So I don't know if that means anything either. If you can shed light on that decision.
Yeah, so I can't speak for Blissey, but what I do know is like Ty, Blissey, and I, and maybe even more people I forget, we all agreed that there should be a majority on Jordan, but there also should be like
Okay,
some people that kind of vote differently in case people like we didn't know who was gonna vote
that
where, so
makes
like
sense.
we're gonna split on Aaliyah and Jordan.
Okay, that makes sense. That cleared it up. Just wanted to ask about that. I just had to go back and watch. But I don't know. I feel like of all of the things that have happened in this game, that's I don't want to say like a silly thing to base a vote off of, but like I understand why it could be concerning. But I feel like I do say those things a lot. Like I said about Mike the first round, I'm always trying to speculate because I'm always trying to get in people's heads and try to figure out what the next move, who would make this decision, why would they? Because to me, that's how I traitor hunt. That's how I try to get in people's minds and figure out what they're gonna do.
Yeah, and I wasn't trying to say like, oh, that one detail should
No, 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 I totally get it.
shine a light on you. Like, I think that overall in the game, you've had very confident reads on situations where I feel like there was a lot of um, evidence against people. Like for the Jake round, like you just couldn't see it.
Yeah,
The no round, you just couldn't see it, and you were right ultimately. But as a trader, you could have that be your strategy, whereas you like kind of fall, you know the answer, so you know what you can do to navigate that type of
yeah.
save them for a future round, like the Jeff vote when Noah was right on the cusp of being banished.
I ultimately don't think I have the best reads in this game. Just I'm not the best at reading people, but I just feel with my gut. So I really felt like in my gut, Jake wasn't a traitor. I didn't think Jake was going to do everything that he did ultimately, which I saw as like active traitor hunting if he was a traitor. And ultimately I was right. With Noah, I was more up in the air about Noah, but ultimately I just felt more confident moving forward with how I felt about Jeff. Obviously, new evidence came up about Jeff, new things about his relationship with Jaywin. I ultimately dropped it because I was looking at what I saw. I was fine. Noah went home. I even said, like, I didn't vote Noah. I totally understood why people voted Noah. I didn't vote Jake. I totally understood why people didn't vote Jake. There was evidence. I'm never going to fault people for following evidence because that's what we can do. But I just personally don't like voting out someone that I think is a faithful unless, like, it's me versus them. And I kind of have to. I feel like people at other points have had strong gut feelings and have gone against it. Like that's just natural in this game. Like you said, like I brought up evidence or like what I think is evidence about Morgan, and you have said like I don't see it, I don't feel it. And that's just like a gut thing with you. And maybe it's because I do have a bit of personal blinders on with some people. That could be true for Jake, that could be true for Noah. That like I don't want them to be, so maybe I'm more inclined to think that they weren't. But yeah,
Mm.
that's just my answer to that.
I feel like I need to fight a little bit more, and I'm not going down without a fight because whatever. Um, Speaking of guts, I got a big one, and I've been following it the entire time, this entire game, and I like not to like brag, but to brag a little bit. Why would I, as a traitor, vote out not one, not two, but three of my fellow traders?
So you
Why
can
would
make
I do
it to the
that?
end and make all of the money yourself.
No,
Is there a more
I wouldn't
obvious
do
answer
that.
than that?
Sorry, Aaliyah, I hear you, but that is incorrect. I wouldn't do that because, at least not at the first one, not even at the second one. Like, if y'all are going to vote for me based off of, wait, what do you, whatever, to make that vote or decision based off of how Chanel responded to one vote out of however many she got is wild to me. Like, if you are a faithful, you want me on your side. You want me around. You want this fucking gut who follows it even if it goes against the grain. You want me around. I am putting my vote on Blissey. If you genuinely think I'm a traitor, OG, recruit, what have you will look like Boo Boo the Fool. Like, you will look like fools for voting me out.
I will say,
Like,
like, not to argue with what you're saying, but to contextualize, like, I'm sure how other people are feeling about the situation. What you're saying doesn't necessarily make sense because this argument that has been used multiple times against other people in thinking that they're traitors, for instance, when Noah was voted out and Noah specifically said, Morgan, you lied to me. Chanel, you lied to me. We immediately next round started looking at those two people, eventually started looking at Chanel enough that we found out that she was a traitor. So, like, to say that you don't understand would be kind
I
of
don't
crazy
understand.
because we've already done it twice and successfully found a traitor that way.
You're right. You're right. I don't understand why I would be the vote here. I genuinely don't. I think whoever puts a vote on me is going to it, you're going to regret it. Like I don't know what more y'all want from me. Like if this was a decision that was decided earlier in the day, I wish that people could have given me the common courtesy to talk to me about it, like we did with Chanel, like I did with fucking Morgan. Like Morgan is my friend, and I thought that she was a fucking traitor, and I gave her the common courtesy to talk to her about it so she could defend myself. It gets to a point where it gets to feel where I feel genuinely disrespected. Like play the game, but like Brian, you were the only person to give me a heads up. And I appreciate that. Like, so thank you, Brian. And my rage right now is not directed to you, Brian. It is directed to the, let's go back to the double standard that I was talking about ages ago, you guys. Like, am I like, I'm so flabbergasted. I'm beyond sad. I'm pissed. I'm fucking pissed that I have done and given my all to the faithfuls. And now someone just woke up and said, I think it's gonna be crispy tonight. For no actual reason besides Chanel rolling her eyes. That's wild.
That's not the only reason.
What are the
What
other reasons, bestie?
We've already spoken on them. I don't want to repeat myself. That's a waste of time. But what I will say to address this is if I was on the hot seat right now and I knew like for sure that I was a faithful, I would be fighting. With that said, all of the other traders have fought the same way. Chanel's like, fine, let's just vote. Let's just vote out this faithful then. You guys are gonna look like fucking idiots if you vote me out. Meanwhile, she's a fucking traitor. So like it's hard to distinguish like everyone is gonna fight for their lives here. Everyone knows what their role is, but no one else does unless you're fucking in the you're in the fucking turret being a traitor. Like you
Do
go
you
from sad to angry. I don't get that. I truly don't. So in my gut, I have been saying this whole game that if Chanel turns out to be a traitor, that you're a traitor. So like if I'm wrong, I'm fucking wrong, but I
you'll be
just like
wrong.
I can't like not like I'm just gonna continue to think it's you until you're out of this game, unfortunately. And I'm not the only one who thinks this, but I will stand on the fact that I do think that you're a traitor. And if I'm wrong,
Okay.
I am so sorry.
Well, I will expect an apology after the game. I think, Sarah, that you made a baseless decision on me or Julia being a traitor and for no reason. They're actually
Where did Julia come from?
because every time because Julia is kind of on the hot seat too. Like I'm gonna fight for myself and I'm gonna fight for my friend too. Like I have a lot of fight. Like I have been fighting this entire fucking game. I've been fighting this entire don't fucking raise your eyes like that, Sarah. Like if
No,
you
but like
want
the
to kill
thing
me,
is that why would you fight for someone if you don't know their role? Like I'm not fighting for Morgan, I'm not fighting for Brian, I'm not fighting for Jazzy, I'm not fighting for Aaliyah. I don't know who the fuck they are. Like,
I'm
yes,
fighting for Julia because I think she's a faithful. I don't think Julia's a traitor.
we're in
I
Finals
don't think she
9. Like,
is.
what are you talking about? Like, we should not be like, oh my, okay, you know what? No.
Okay, so I'm getting a vote from Sarah. That's fine. I knew she was gonna, I had a feeling that she was gonna be voting for me. She's gonna be wrong. She will be wrong. I will be voting for Blissey tonight. And to say that if you were on the hot seat, you would be fighting. What have I been doing this entire time if not fighting? I know what I bring to the table. Like, you guys, come on. There is no actual evidence directed to me. There's none. You can decide, like, just because an eye roll, if you decide that that's evidence, then yeah, that's evidence, whatever. But it's factually false. It is incorrect. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, and I could also be wrong that it's Blissey. But you guys, like, come on, just give me a chance. I'm asking for a crumb of your trust, just a
More.
tiny little speck. I've put my trust into all of the faithfuls. That's why I'm defending Julia. That's why I'm willing to put myself at risk to fight for Julia because, like, she's done it for me in the past, so I'm going to do it for her again. So to say that it's silly for me to fight for somebody that I believe in, I find offensive. So I'm not, I, if I was going to give up and not try to fight, like, I would stall out and, like, not speak and, like, let y'all vote. But okay, no, Noah said that y'all were going to be wrong. Chanel said that y'all were going to be wrong. But this time, y'all are going to be wrong. I promise you, you will be wrong. I promise. I do not make promises I can't cash. I do not write checks that are going to bounce. If you vote for me tonight, I don't care who else you vote for. I don't care if you don't think it's Blissey and you want to throw and you want to do something else, whatever. But you will be wrong about me.
Does anybody have anything else to say?
I could talk for another 21 minutes if y'all want to hear me ramble more. I don't mind talking. Like, I can keep talking. Like, y'all want to fight, y'all want to see me fight, then
Morgan.
excuse me?
No,
No,
sorry, I'm dressing Morgan.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
I'm just like I feel like I'm getting like red on my chest just because it's the emotions are very high and like I obviously like there's the whenever you question Chanel in the 4 and 7 and then like that discrepancy and there's all of these things that have been pointed out and it's like factual and then like emotion gets brought into it and like you're speaking from the heart and you're very passionate and that's where it gets like I literally like feel like my stomach's in my fucking like I'm just like watching someone like be put their heart out and that's where like it's that's where the emotions come in and that's like where the Noah and Jeff come in where it's like like to write your name is like very difficult and I'm not saying that I am like writing because like right now I'm just like very like trying to process all my emotions because like there's factual and then there's an emotional stance and then like Julia's obviously like I'm like like I know these games get very intense and I'm just like literally watching Julia just like literally like probably not be able to breathe right now from being emotional so like that's where these games get very difficult
Mhm.
because it's just like and you know, Blissey is somebody I see your points on Blissey, and then there's Jeff who like literally in that competition we forgot that Jeff was even an option half the time because we're only looking at people who are on the calls
Yeah.
and it's just very confusing to like what are we doing what are we thinking and then emotions like this like come out and then it's like
Mhm.
all right what direction do we go because the points on Blissey are just as relevant as the points on me are just as relevant on the points on Crispy like
Yeah.
there are a lot of facts being brought to the table and right now like I just feel like between Julia, like literally like having to calm herself and breathing, and you being like very like, I'm gonna talk until the time's up. Like it's like one of those things where what am I feeling and where do I want to put my trust in? And then like going to, if I wake up in the morning, then like we reassess, or wake up in the morning. I'll wake up in the morning, but like if I make it to breakfast, uh um like reassess and like what do we do? Because there's recruitments. Literally
Yeah.
the OG traders. Could there have been a recruitment on the fourth or fifth round whenever Jordan went? Like we don't know. We don't know these answers. We're literally going off of all like we don't have the pieces to the puzzle. We're trying to figure out the puzzle right now. And
Yeah.
I just feel like Crispy, like I do, like even like your name, and I've mentioned the 4 and 7 to other people, and like you are right. That is something I'm battling too, because I don't like confrontation. And
Yeah.
but I respect confrontation. Like I've been
Yeah.
saying, I appreciate that Sarah pointed me out. I appreciate that you tagged me. And I would respect, I would, because I expect it, I would want to give it. And
Yeah.
like I do apologize, like that I personally, whenever on our one-on-one call, like I didn't point out these things that I noticed because you did give me that decency. I just feel like right now there's like a lot of emotions, and I feel like you are making points in your defense. And that's like kind of the position that I'm in right now. And you know, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like I like I'm literally like rubbing myself because I'm like, fuck. It's getting really
So
intense. So
I will ask Morgan, Brian, Julia, Jazzy, Aaliyah, Jeff, if you watch this back. I'm not gonna ask Sarah. I think her mind's made up, but that's fine. Please, please put your trust in me again. If this is the first time you're putting your trust in me, you will not regret it. I'm not guaranteeing that we're gonna catch a traitor tonight. The only guarantee that I can promise is that if you vote for me, it will turn faithful. I am begging the one, two, three, four, five, six, including Jeff. I'm begging the six of you, do not vote me here. This is misguided. This is misdirected. We are following something that is so factually incorrect. I cannot speak more emphatically about how wrong voting me here is. I will vote for Blissey. If you have ever trusted me before, you would either vote with me or
I just want to speak from my perspective. I absolutely am believing you, and I am voting Blissey with you.
thank you, Jazzy.
You're welcome.
I definitely do agree with Morgan that, like, in this point of the game, and because I've played so many, like, survivor-based games, that it does get for me, like, get very difficult for me to, like, separate when people are being truly emotional or emotionally manipulative. And I think what Sarah was saying about the going back and forth from anger to sadness is like, as someone who's experienced that firsthand, that's like a clear indication of emotional manipulation. And then inserting yourself emotionally where it seems almost too much in a game.
Right.
Like it's not that I'm discounting emotion at all because I absolutely understand it. Like I mean I felt that way very similarly earlier in the game as well. But like sometimes I it makes it very hard for me to separate when that is being used. Like a trader has used that before in this game. So it makes it very hard for me to separate when someone is getting emotional because they're upset they're about to be voted out as a traitor, or because they're upset because they feel untrusted by people they feel they should be.
I feel
I'm
shitty.
getting the same. I'm sorry, Crispy. I didn't mean to cut you
That's
off.
no, you're good, Jazzy.
I'm
Say
gonna say I am feeling the same energy from Crispy I'm feeling from Noah, and y'all, and some of y'all did not trust Noah, and Noah was very emphatic about that he was not a traitor. He was a faithful, and he flipped faithful, and that is the energy I'm getting from Crispy. So I'm also begging you, trust Crispy on this because I think I think the traitors are trying to get us to vote Crispy out.
thank you, Jazzy.
You're welcome.
I think anger and sadness kind of go hand in hand a little bit for me. Um, okay, Sarah, whatever. I All right. What angers me is that it seems like we are allowing somebody who has had like all of the evidence curated and laid out in front of her. And we saw it round one with Amy, we saw it with Jordan, we saw it with whatever vote, but it took until Chanel for Sarah to put it together. So, are we going to let someone who has been proven wrong steer you into being wrong again?
Okay, first of all,
Yeah, I'll be real. Sarah's
I'm
not
not
steering my cup.
steering this.
She's the only, I mean, Sarah's the only one that has been emphatic that it's 100% me. So, in my perspective,
Okay,
she's steering
no,
it because none
first
of
of
y'all
all,
talked to me
let's
before.
not twist fucking facts here. Let's make something straight. I'm
Okay,
not
go ahead, Sarah.
I'm not fucking put. See, you're like, huh? See, like, how can you get so like angry and then upset at the same time? Shit's not fucking adding up. I think it's manipulation. If I'm wrong, I'm fucking wrong.
You'll
But
be wrong.
great, great. I'm not the one steering this. Everyone has their own fucking vote. Everyone has their own fucking opinion. Everyone gets on calls and talks about things that are fucking sus. And I'm sorry that it's landed on you, but unfortunately, there's a lot of facts on you tonight. You've addressed them, great. The fact that like if you do flip Traitor and you emotionally manipulated Jazzy into like making sure that it's not you, that's really fucked up in my opinion. So I hope it isn't you, but I'm still going to be voting for you because something's not sitting right. The fact that I don't feel bad is weird because I'm a very empathetic person. Like I cried during the Noah vote. Like I felt like something was off there. I don't feel bad right now because it's just like you're
Good.
mad,
That's fine.
you're sad, you're happy, you're like taunting me. Like get over it. Like
Taunting you.
sorry. I
Taunting
won't.
you.
Yeah. You're like, "Okay, Sarah, let's listen." Like shut up. Like literally shut up.
You
I'm
shut the
tired.
fuck up, Sarah. You shut up.
I feel like emotions are not always the most easily read and everyone reacts completely differently. I also feel like I'm a very empathetic person and I usually can read people's emotions pretty well, and for me it feels genuine in my opinion.
Everyone's gonna have their own opinions, Jazzy. I respect your opinion for real.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think that everyone's gonna have their own read on the situation, obviously. We only do have 10 minutes left, so just so that we don't, I feel like we've talked out the points that we already discussed pretty well. So does anyone have anything that we haven't really discussed on that they wanted to? Go ahead, Aaliyah.
Before next roundtable, I suggest we all get on call and smoke a blunt together because this is like crazy that we're all feeling like this. Like I understand high emotions and I'm a bitch too, but like we shouldn't be calling each other names, y'all. Like this just a game. Like, and like if I have to send everybody $20 to put a smile on your face, I'll do that right now. Like, but like
Oh,
we
Aaliyah's
need
got
just like hold hands
money.
and like.
Aaliyah's got money.
I'll send everybody a bottle of imported wine. It's fine. We will have a good night next roundtable because this is a lot. Like.
Um, if I do turn over Traitor, I'm a sociopath. That's what it is. If I turn over Traitor, I'm a genuine sociopath. I like not to get too into personal shit, but like I struggle with my anger when I feel so passionately that I'm correct, and that's what tonight is. And my anger, my physical response too, is to cry. So if it's confusing for y'all, it's confusing for me too, who has to live with it every fucking day. So I don't appreciate my sadness, my anger, my emotion being thrown in my face. I think that's really fucked up. And I think that's really disrespectful and it goes beyond a game. I'm angry and sad because I'm defending myself because I know that I'm a faithful. 100%. That's the last thing I gotta say.
And if no one has anything else to say, it's time to vote. Send them in your chat. At me when you do. Please do not type so I can get it. And we'll get to the votes.
I just want to also send love to Julia right now because I know she's like going through it emotionally with like recent information, and also this game has been stressful. And I just see you like I just want to shout you out.
Yeah, I promise isn't like all because of this roundtable. It's just like a
Well,
really
I
bad
know.
No,
roundtable to have. Like,
Julia, we
Yeah,
understand
with the
completely
recent info and
and
everything.
just want to give you all the love in the world.
All right, I have everyone's votes. I will reveal your name, who you voted for, and you'll have a chance to explain. First up we have is Blissey. Blissey is not here, but Blissey has voted for Crispy. Next we have is Aaliyah. Aaliyah has voted for Crispy. Aaliyah.
Listen, I just want to say first, I'm so sorry if you felt disrespected about me talking about your emotion. That wasn't me talking about you directly about emotion. That was just me contextualizing how I feel about emotion being used in games and how it's hard for me to separate the two. But I did vote for you because in your final words just now, you said that you only get emotional like this when you know you're right. And that's like the thing that alerted me during the last challenge is that when you knew you were right, you got frustrated that we did not go that way. So that was the main thing in that last challenge that put you out as a red flag to me. So I will be going away.
All right, next we have is Morgan. Morgan voted for Blissey. Morgan.
As I just said, like Crispy, I do feel like with the emotion and like the passion that you spoke on, I know that there's evidence there, and you asked for trust. I do see the Blissy stuff that you mentioned. So, I just didn't feel comfortable voting for you based off of what you said tonight.
All right, after Morgan, we have Julia. Julia voted for Morgan. Julia.
I was doing the votes and I had to throw it gonna come down to me. I came in here saying like I'm 90% voting Crispy. Crispy, you like just the way you defended yourself tonight. Like I did. I feel like what Jazzy said. Like I felt you. I felt like who you are, and I don't necessarily think it's Blissy. So I just voted where I have in the past. I don't know what to think. I really hope you turn over Traitor so I feel less bad about this. I'm sorry, guys. This was just a bad.
All right, next we have is Sarah. Sarah voted for Crispy. Sarah.
Yeah, first off, I want to say that I don't like who I am when I get into these games and get really emotional. I'm sorry, Crispy, for it to become personal. I don't like that about me. Um, I can't move on until you're gone because I've been thinking it's you for the last couple of rounds now, especially with how the challenge went. I just like side-eyed you. Sorry.
Next we have is Jeff. Jeff did not vote. Jeff has a self vote. Next we have is Crispy. Crispy voted for Blissey. Crispy.
I'm just doing what I said I was going to do. Everything that I said is a fact. Um, I'm sorry, Blissey. I wish you were here so we could have had a more productive conversation. But ultimately, my gut and what little bit of evidence I have made me vote Blissey.
Next we have is Jazzy. Jazzy also voted Blissey. Jazzy.
Yes. I think in good conscience, I could not vote Crispy after hearing his defense and how he got emotionally. I felt it was very genuine genuine and very straightforward. And the points you brought up about Blissey were one point I've thought of about Blissey, and I do feel like Blissey has changed over the past few rounds, whereas like earlier in the game I've trusted her more, so I think she probably either is a recruited traitor or I could be wrong.
And lastly, we have Brian, and Brian voted for Crispy. Brian?
This was a very tough one for me, but I am going off the evidence. I really just can't get behind how Chanel would have got the numbers are 4 and 7 without a leak from somewhere. And I think that based on last roundtable, how you and Chanel answered that question, I think that to me was the point overall that made me think it's you. Again, I'm sorry if I'm wrong because trust me, you had me wavering back and forth more than I expected to because I was planning on going with the evidence, but that's just what I think is most likely, and that's what we have to do.
And with that, in a 4-3 to 1-1 vote, Crispy, you have been banished. You have a moment to say your goodbyes, your little speech, and then give a reveal, and then leave the call.
This is for all of you, except for Jazzy. Um, Real talk. This was a surprise. I hope that in the future, y'all speak to your other suspects differently. I did feel disrespected. I think that's a little annoying, and everything I said is true. I am a faithful. You are all wrong, except for the people that voted for me. Um, this is a bummer. Stay obsessed.
And
Brian.
you have voted out a faithful. Will you get another traitor? Who knows? That's it for tonight, guys. You will have until
Oh, Brian.
9:30